Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you guys are doing well as always, and I'm back with another video, and this time is gonna be a deck guide video for the clan Genesis. And of course, the featured card of this deck guide will be Fortuna, and in my opinion, Fortuna is actually pretty good. Obviously, I do think that Fortuna is better than the previous Genesis archetype, which is Artemis, just because Fortuna ability allow you to guarantee to check double trigger and even potentially a triple trigger, and that will be the first card in this game that you can actually triple drive. Before we take a look at the deck list, I do want to know if you guys notice an improvement in the audio. I want to know who actually noticed it before I even mention this. And if you actually notice it, leave a comment down below so that I know who you are. Alright, so now let's take a look at the deck list. Okay, so here's the list. As you can see, my list is actually not fully completed, but still, the most important card to me, in my opinion, is the 4 copy of your win condition, which is the key card Fortuna, and 4 copy of the new BreakRide from set 11. Okay, so first let's take a look what Fortuna does. So Fortuna's skill is Limit Break 4. When this unit dry check, and if you don't check a trigger, you can Soul Blast 3 and add that card to your hand, and then you perform an additional dry check. So for example, you twin drive your first check, no trigger, Soul Blast 3, draw the card, and then you twin drive again. If no trigger, you can just keep on doing the skill. Of course, if you have enough soul, you can just keep on going and just fill your hand up if you don't check any triggers. And the second skill is when you dry check, reveal a trigger, and if it's the second one this turn, you can perform an additional drive check, and this makes this card the first one to triple drive in this game. And the last skill, which you probably don't use it much often, but there will be situation where you actually do use it, which is a main phase skill where you Soul Blast 3 and just gain 5000 power until the end of the turn. Alright, so the support card that you're going to pair Fortuna with is the BreakRide, and the BreakRide skill is when you BreakRide over this unit, count +1, you get to draw a card and Soul Charge 3, and of course your Vanguard gain 10,000 power, and when this unit attack, Soul Charge 1 and it gain 10,000 power, and this is really good because it can fill your soul up pretty quickly. Every time you attack with this unit, you Soul Charge 1, when you BreakRide, you Soul Charge 3, and there's units that gain soul as well, grade 2 and grade 1. And as you can see, my other grade 3 is gonna be 3 copy of her, which is kind of a backup game plan, because once your opponent is at 5, you can actually use this to finish up the game instead of your Fortuna, because you can Soul Blast 6 during your main phase, and you can retire your opponent front row. So even if they got 2 interceptor and trying to block your attack, because of this card, you can actually push 3 damage to your opponent face. And of course, I got 1 copy of the new card, and you can play 4 copy of her, it's up to you. You can play 4 copy of her, or even her, it's totally up to you. But like I said, the most important card for a grade 3 is 4 copy of the new BreakRide and 4 copy of Fortuna. And of course, I just play 1 copy of this because it's just a one-off. You can play whatever you want, honestly. Okay, so before we move on to any other grades, as you can see, my trigger build is actually 9 crits and 4 heal. I feel like 9 crits is actually pretty good in this deck, just because thanks to Fortuna's skill, you don't really need draw trigger, because if you don't check any trigger, it's pretty much a draw trigger without power, since you can add that card to your hand. And I find crit really good because you can push your opponent to 5 really quickly, or even end the game really quickly. And even if your opponent has 5, you might be thinking crit will be useless, and that is where this card comes in play, because like I say, this will just be your backup finisher if you can't finish your opponent off with your Fortuna. And of course, you can play the stand variant as well. It's totally up to you. You can play 9 crits or 9 stand, but I do prefer the 9 crit build. Alright, so let's move on to our starter. As you can see, our starter is going to be the grade 3 searcher, not the new starter for Genesis. Just because I feel like the new starter, the skill is you can Soul Charge her if your Vanguard boost hit or something like that, and then you Soul Charge 2 extra card. But I honestly don't think that the Soul Charge is that necessary, because you have a lot of other cards that give you a lot of soul. And when I'm playing this deck, I run into a lot of situations where I almost deck out, and that's why you don't really want to over Soul Charge, in a sense. And that is why I feel like the grade 3 searcher is really good, because your first ride is going to be your BreakRide and then your Fortuna. Because if you ride your Fortuna first, it's going to be a little bit awkward, just because you can't really get as much soul as you would like compared to the BreakRide. And for the grade 1, we actually run 3 copy of Melissa, 4 copy of PG, 4 copy of the Encore Soul Charge 1, and 2 copy of the new card, which I feel like you should run 4 of her, but I don't have her, so I only run 2. So You can run 4 and then you can just cut your own play Soul Charge, but I don't think 3 copy of her is good enough. But if you want to play 4, go ahead. I'm not going to stop you. It's totally up to you. And then for your grade 2, this is going to be one of your win condition as well with your Fortuna. They are kind of a combo style deck, and it's a triple rare, so it could be quite pricey and hard to get because this is from set 10 if I am correct. Can't really remember. Or is it set 9? I don't really remember, but this is a really important card where you need to run 4 copy of because you just want her in your soul. So of course you play 4, you have a higher odds of soul charging her randomly. And the skill is, of course, if this card got Soul Blast out, you can Counter Blast 1 and call this unit to the field. And it gains 3000 power. And we play 4 copy of your on hit Counter Blast 1 Soul Charge 3. Which is going to be pretty important, especially if you ride Fortuna and you miss your BreakRide. And we play the grade 2 version of the grade 1, and of course both of this card skill is the same. Once this unit got Soul Blast, you can Soul Charge 2 from your deck, and for every trigger that you Soul Charge, you can return it to your deck. That means if you Soul Charge 1, it's not a trigger, your second one is a trigger, you continue Soul Charging until you don't get a trigger, and then the trigger that you Soul Charge from those 2 card effects go back to your deck. So it's pretty good, it kind of thin out your deck, so your odds of checking trigger is higher. And I play a one-off 10k vanilla. I can play whatever you want, to be honest. It's just a one-off, not that important. And yeah, I guess that pretty much sum up for the deck list. So how you want to win is pretty simple. Because you play crit in this deck, you want your opponent to be at 4, and especially if they got 2 interceptor, that's where you can swing your left and right column to their grade 2s, and your Fortuna attack their Vanguard, and you check a crit, they proc their PG, and then you superior call your grade 2 Chamomile and your Melissa to make 2 fresh column, and then you can push for 2 more damage and hope that he don't have a second PG. But of course, if they don't have grade 2s, then they will need 4 PG to survive, and the odds of that is pretty low. So most of the time, when you go for a Fortuna play, they are going to be dead unless they got 2 interceptor and 2 PG. So I have a total of 2 games to show you guys. The first one is going to be with BreakRide, and the second one is going to be a game where I actually miss my BreakRide and how you can win from that. So same as always, I will have timestamp in the description box down below. You guys can choose which one to watch, but I highly recommend watching both. And I guess that's enough talking, let's head into some gameplay. Okay, so as you can see, our first opponent is going to be Aqua Force, which is a tier 1 deck in my opinion. And let's find out how does Genesis does against it. And in my opinion, Genesis is in the high tier 2 list, and there's a really good chance for Genesis to be in tier 1. And when I say Genesis, Fortuna to be Pacific, and this hand is pretty decent. I will just keep my grade 1, my Fortuna, and my grade 2. And I did get the BreakRide which I wanted, but having 2 copies is not necessary, so not gonna really complain because we did still get a card that we want. And also, another thing about playing Glitchy Searcher is, if you're playing Glitchy Searcher in most other clan, the thing that I find really awkward is Glitchy Searcher is 4k, so if you don't use it, you're gonna pair it with your grade 3 11k, and it's gonna make 15k power, and it's kind of really awkward against a 11k grade 3 if your opponent does use that, because nowadays all the grade 3 is 11k and it's not perfect number. But when you're using the 4k booster with your BreakRide, it's gonna be perfect 16k, and that is why I feel like the Glitchy Searcher, you know, it's not that bad of a starter to run in this deck, even if you don't use it, because it still makes a pretty good booster in my opinion. And of course, you want a good booster behind your Vanguard if you are playing crits, because if you are playing crits, your Vanguard should be the last you need to attack your opponent Vanguard with. So here I have no clue what my opponent is playing. He might be playing Transcore Dragon or Original Maelstrom build, I have no clue. But regardless, both of those builds are really good. And you see he did decide to attack because there's no reason to decline the damage for a grade 3 Searcher. There's really no reason to do that. And our first copy of Chamomile into the damage zone kind of sucked because you really want those in your soul. The ideal situation is you have 2 Chamomile in the soul. Even if you have 1, it's still alright because you still got the grade 1 version as backup. And you see here I draw into another BreakRide, so already 4 trigger wasted in our hand. But at least we get to Soul Charge 3 just by using a Counter Blast, so not too bad yet. Okay, so the thing that I find really awkward when you're playing crits is if this unit that I just ride is on your rearguard circle and you're on grade 3, and if your opponent have 2 interceptor, you can't really get the soul charge 3 unless you need to swing your Vanguard 2, they are grade 2, and by doing that, if you try to crit, it's a wasted trigger, but there will be situation where you need to commit and have to decide, do you want a 3 soul or do you want to have a chance to check a critical trigger? You have to decide. And I'm pretty sure there's a situation like this. I can't really remember, is it this game or is it the next game? Okay, so he write the Clay Elemental 10k vanilla. So this tells me that he probably play maybe more than 4 10k vanillas, I have no clue. So here we are going to go to 3. Honestly, it's not the end of the world. I'm really hoping for a heal. Can we check it? We did not. So here I'm also hoping for a grade 2 so that I at least have some defense, or even have PG will be nice as well. So let's see what we draw here. We draw a grade 1, so not looking too fantastic. 4 grade 3 in your hand and 2 grade 1. No defensive at all, but in this kind of situation, all you can do is just rush your opponent's face, honestly, and just hope to close out the game once you can BreakRide. So here I'm pretty sure I just call 2 grade 3 down. And of course a booster, and here you can see my on-play soul charge get me a camo mount, which is clutch, and also get me a good grade 2 where I can increase my soul if I want to, and here I'm gonna hope to push for 4 damage because there is a chance for that to happen. And like I say, if you're playing crit, you want to swing your Vanguard last. So here, if my opponent don't get a trigger, I just need to check a crit and he'll go to 5. But he did get a trigger, so at this kind of situation, I need 2 trigger to hit through his Vanguard, and I'm not going to take the risk, so I'm just going to attack this rearguard because I just want my attack to go through, even though it is a rearguard attack. And I check a heal, so that's pretty good, so at least we can still survive a 4 attack play, because if we are at 3, and he has Maelstrom with his self-damager, the odds of him closing the game on his turn is going to be pretty high, so checking the heal trigger is pretty lucky. And luckily, I didn't attack with my Vanguard first, because if I check a heal, and he check a heal damage trigger, he can actually heal. So, good play on our part. So here he write Maelstrom, so good to see that he don't run Transcore, because Transcore is going to be really scary against this deck just because you don't run draw. So in the early game, if you don't have draw trigger, right, your hand size is going to be really small. So the best way to counter against Genesis deck that runs 9 crit or 9 stand is to delay their BreakRide so that their hand is extremely low. Because the only way Genesis will fill their hand in this kind of situation is where they BreakRide Fortuna. So here he can get his 4th attack off, and of course he has his self-damager with the 10k attacker, so perfect 16k column, so good for him. So he probably can put me to 5 unless I check a trigger here, and I did. So even though it's a heal, it's still a pretty good trigger there because I denied his 2nd attack. So he's gonna swing 2 attack to my rearguard, and that kind of sucked because I'm gonna BreakRide on my next turn obviously, and I only have 1 extra card in my hand and I can't make a perfect 2 columns because there'll be an empty spot. So you're gonna see what I'm gonna do later on. So here, let's just watch some gameplay. And of course, I'm really hoping he don't check a heal, otherwise we will probably gonna lose the game because I can't have him go to 2 damage right now, and he check a draw, and that's the only trigger he checked, so that's fine. And no trigger, don't really need any trigger there because we don't play draw, and you don't want your crits in your damage zone unless you want a damage trigger. And here he dropped draw, and I guess he's probably looking for PG, I have no clue. We need to see what he dropped first. As you can see, he dropped a grade 1 and he didn't drop grade 3, so there's a good chance he have Glory Maelstrom in his hand. And here, let's see what he burned. The good play is to burn my 7k booster in my opinion, because my Vanguard don't need a booster already, just because the BreakRide give me a 10,000 power. So he burned my grade 3 searcher, which I think is a misplay, but like I say, it's my opinion. If it's me, I would definitely burn the 7k booster just because I don't have any more hand size. So here I draw another on-play soul charge, which is not the greatest, so I'm just gonna BreakRide. And of course, I totally forget that the BreakRide draw you a card, because the main reason why you play the BreakRide is the soul charge 3. So every time I forget that you actually do draw 1 free card. So let's see what we draw here. Another BreakRide, and that's our last copy. So at least it's an attacker, so let's not complain. And here I'm checking myself, how many camo mounts do I have? So here I have, let's pause the game for a while. So as you can see, I have the Grade 1 camo mount, which is Melissa, and 2 camo mount. So I can actually Soul Blast 3 to get 1 out, and then I can actually Soul Blast 3 again during my battle phase and call 2 more out. And by doing so, I have a total of 5 attacks. And if you include crit, 5 attack plus 2 crits, maybe that's 7 damage. So that's insane. So let's continue watching. So here I'm gonna get my Grade 1 out because you don't really want to replace your Grade 2. So correct ordering there, you want your Grade 1 first. And 1 is enough, just because I have an 11k attacker. So actually drawing the Grade 3 is not that bad because I can attack the Vanguard without boost. So here obviously you want to attack your left and right column to their Grade 2 or their Vanguard without boost if you can. So this deck really shines when your opponent's at 4 at this kind of situation. So now I just need 1 crit, and he need 2 PGs to survive because I'm gonna have 2 other attack. And of course, if you check a double trigger there, things will go really wrong. So the first time in Vanguard 0 where I actually hope that I don't get a trigger, and I draw check a PG, and that is amazing because of Fortuna skill, the PG goes to my hand. So even if I don't kill him this turn, there is a good chance that we survive as well. So here as you can see, I Soul Blast 3, and of course I picked 2 of my camo mounts, and by doing so, I have 2 new attacks. And if you can check a heal here, it's gonna be amazing. So 2 more check, oh another crit, that's nice, and because we check 2 triggers, we get another check, and that is a triple drive. No trigger, I can Soul Blast again if I want, but I don't think it's necessary because... You know what, I think I should, why didn't I do that? You know what, I think I actually should Soul Blast if I still have heal trigger, but I can't really remember if I have any. Because if I have heal trigger left in my deck, I should just continue drive checking. But as you can see, that's game. And that is most of the time how you're gonna win when you're using this deck, especially if you're playing the critical build. And that's game 1 go to us. So another reason why I don't want to play Stand Trigger is because Stand Trigger works really awkwardly with your camo mount and your Melissa, because you're just gonna replace unit, and what are you gonna stand? You're not gonna stand anything beside the booster at their back row. But as you can see, you don't even need to boost most of the time, so that's why I prefer the quick build. And I guess this concludes for game 1, so let's move on to game 2. Okay, so for game 2, we are going to be facing off against Tachi. And you guys might be thinking Tachi is not a good clan, but in my opinion, Tachi is really good, especially with the new edition Limit Break card and the new BreakRide that is currently in the clan event right now. But by the time I upload this video, it's going to be the last day of the clan event, so if you guys are interested in the Tachi clan event, do make sure to grind it out since it is the last day. So as you can see, I don't really have my BreakRide, which is fine because I have my Gucci Searcher for a reason, and here obviously you do want to write the card that you want it to be in the soul, and that is going to be Melissa. And every time you're going to put your Gucci Searcher behind your Vanguard, whether you need to use it or not, because if you put it at your left or right column, the number will be awkward. So here, it's a good thing that we go first, because if we go second, there's a chance that we can't write the Grade 2 we want to write, which is the Soul Blast, Soul Charge 2, you know, the white color Grade 2. But because we go second, we can actually write that and then call our on hit Soul Charge 3 on the rear guard, because that's going to be our first attack anyway, so it's a guarantee triple Soul Charge unless he don't decide to give me a damage, which he will do that because like I said, there's no reason to damage the line of Genesis clan, but at the same time I want to use my Gucci Searcher, so I can't really Soul Charge 3. So here I'm hoping to draw into my BreakRide, so let's see, did I draw it? I did not, so the priority obviously will be my BreakRide, so I'm going to write the card that I want it to be the soul and just use my Gucci Searcher effect. And unfortunately we did not get our BreakRide, but like I say, this game is without BreakRide, but we can still win. You can still win without BreakRide, as long as you have the right cards in the soul and you have your on hit Soul Charge 3, you can still win. So yeah, I checked critical trigger, which is pretty good. So another reason why we play 9 crits is because crit is extremely good in the early game. So you can check a crit on turn 1, a crit on turn 2, your opponent's at 4, and you pretty much win the game already. And obviously the weakness of critical trigger is the late game, where your opponent is at 5 and the crit doesn't matter, but like I said, there's backup plan for that, like I explained in the deck list section. So here, let's see what it's gonna do. So the moment he calls a 7k booster, I know he's gonna make a perfect 19k column. So as you can see, there it goes. And he can push me to 4 damage, so this is really scary. But at the same time, if we are at 4, we can just use Fortuna skill straight away. But I don't really want to use it right now. I want to set up my soul before I use my Fortuna. So I'm really hoping for a trigger. I don't really care if it's a heal or crit, I just need 1 trigger, and I did not get a trigger, so that's too bad. We are going to fall. We are going to fall. This is going to be a pretty fast-paced game. Oh, we check a heal. Damn, that heal is a lifesaver. Jesus. Without that heal, we will be in a super bad spot. Alright. One more draw. And hopefully can get a BreakRide. And we did not, which is fine, which is fine. Like I say, you can still win without your BreakRide. Just that it's going to be harder. Okay, so here, I need a booster. I didn't really search anything really important there. And now I'm at a situation where, like I talk about, if you play crits and you want your rearguard to hit their Vanguard because of your on-hit skill, that's where things get awkward. So now you need to think, do you want a chance to check a critical trigger, or do you want 3 soul which can convert into a guaranteed trigger in the later game? And here, I did value the soul pretty highly, so I do go for the soul charge play, and as you can see, I did keep one of my grade 2 because I might want the extra 3 soul on the next turn. And another reason why I don't call to grade 2 is because if I check a heal, I can't really break, right? Not really break, right? I can't really limit break, and I want to limit break next turn because my soul is set up. And here you can see I check a crit, so it's a wasted crit, but it's alright because we can get a crit back later on because we can guarantee check a trigger with Fortuna skill. And I soul charge 3 trigger, Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. That is such a bad soul charge. But, you know, there will be times where this kind of things happen. You can't really avoid it because it is a luck game. It is a luck game. So here, let's see. Does he have the BreakRide or not? Okay, he don't have the BreakRide. No clue what that does. Pretty sure that unit can retire his rearguard and make a 4th attack somehow. Don't really have much idea how Tachi does their combo, because I have not been looking up at the card effect. So here, it's gonna put me to 5, which is fine, I think. And his hand size only 1, so interesting way of attacking. I have no clue why he attacked like this, because the Vanguard can't even attack my Vanguard now, unless it have a built-in effect where he gains 5000 power, which he does. And he can make another column, Jesus, so he can potentially close the game here. Because he's going to replace his grade 3 now, and he have another column of attack, but for that attack to go through, he need to check a trigger, and for me to not damage check a trigger. So let's see. Okay, he did check his trigger, so good for him. A double trigger, wow. Okay, luckily we have our PG, or we'll be dead right now. Oh my god, look at all my camo mounts in my damage zone. That's bad. And I'm at a situation where I need to win on my turn next. Otherwise, I'll just lose the game unless I just check like double heal or something. I don't even know if I have 2 more heals in my deck. Okay, so here, let the real games begin. Let the real game begin. Okay, I draw a grade 2, which doesn't really matter. I'm just gonna call my boosters and my grade 2 down because I need to attack his Vanguard. And here I'm hoping that my soul charge 3 give me something good because I do not know what I have in my soul at this point. So like I said, you want to swing without boost first and you want to swing your Vanguard last. So even though, as you can see, my Vanguard can't hit through his Vanguard right now, but because of my guarantee trigger check, I can hit through his Vanguard. So as you can see, I triple soul charge 3 of the same skill card, which gain more soul after you soul blast it. So I'm hoping that I can get some good units to soul charge into the soul using those 3 card effect. Oh, camo mount. I want it to be in a soul, but it's not. So as you can see here, I only have Melissa to Superior Core, and that's where I need to try to get something good into my soul, and that's why those new cards come in handy. So by using the skill, I can Soul Charge 2. So you can see, if I Soul Charge trigger, it's going to return back to my deck. And here, oh my god, did you guys see that? I Soul Charge 2 cards. And it's Melissa and Camo Mount. And I believe those two are my last copy, so I got really lucky there, wow. And here, I have 2 Melissa and 1 Camo Mount, and that means I can make a fresh column and another column of attacker. So here you can see, I just Soul Blast this 3, and luckily we have 3 Counter Blast to use. So we kind of at a perfect situation here, because we can replace 3 cards and make 2 more fresh attacks. And here, he need 2 PG to survive. And he did check double draw, so I'm hoping that he don't get 2 PG in his hand. And now, we got 2 new fresh attack. And I really do hope you guys see the power of this clan. Fortuna is really good and all, but Melissa and Camo is really great support card, because without them, you're not gonna win. You're not gonna win with just Fortuna, you need them. Okay, so I did Soul Blast again because I'm probably hoping to check a heal trigger, I think. Yep, I still have 1 more heal. Got it, nice. Wait, I think I have 2 more heals. Pretty sure I have 2 more heals. So he have a PG, but does he have another one? Because if he don't, that's game for us. Oh, he checked a heal. The heal that we check kind of punish us because now he get to survive another turn. But luckily we check a heal, because without the heal we actually might lose. And here, even though I only have 1 interceptor, I have a PG in my hand, so I'm hoping that he can't make a 4th attack somehow. And I really feel like my previous turn showcased the best of Genesis. Like, you are not going to get any better than this. And that is the main way you're going to win with this deck. So here, he don't really have any card to Superior Core units besides his Great Wand. I think. Like I say, I have no clue what Tachi does. But one thing is clear, is if you don't kill me this turn, we are gonna win, that's for sure. Unless you check another heal, which I don't think he have any more. And as you can see, our deck size is actually 6 cards, and that's why you don't want to over Soul Charge. Because if you go for all attack, like me on the previous turn, and you don't kill them, there's a good chance you just deck out. Especially if you're playing draw, you are gonna deck out 100% if you play draw. So don't play draw. And here, okay, hoping to get a trigger, and I did not, which is fine, But it's not like he's gonna get another column of attack. So here he's gonna gain 5000 power and retire his Great Wand and place his Great Wand in the front row. So now he needs double trigger to win the game. And the odds of that is super low, because I assume he's gonna retire his Great Tree and put it on the front row. Yep. And the first check no trigger, and that is pretty much game for us because he needs 2 PG now to survive, and he only got 1 card in his hand. And I guess that is game. There's really not much else he can do here, besides attacking my rear guard, which doesn't really matter because I got 3 Great 2s in my hand. So as you can see, that pretty much sums up for the game. Even though we have a rocky start in the early game, we can still win, as shown here. So I really do hope you guys feel like motivated to play this deck, because I really do feel like this deck is really fun, because there's so many combos to work with, and it's just fun in my opinion. It's just a really fun deck. It's a fun and good deck. That's the best part. You know, there's a lot of fun deck out there, but they might not be good, but this is fun and good. So I really highly recommend you guys to test this deck out if you can. And here, does he 6 damage shield? And he don't end that as game 2 for us, so total of 2-0, so pretty cool. And I guess that pretty much sums up for this video. So same as always, I do hope you guys enjoy this video or even find it helpful for those people that want to find out the power of Fortuna and how this deck works when it drops on the global server, because I'm pretty sure most of you guys watching right now from the global side. And do make sure to leave a comment down below letting me know if you're gonna build this deck on your global server or on your Japan server after you watch this video, because I do feel like it's kind of motivating to play a deck after it does so well. And yeah, I guess this should be it. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for next video. Goodbye.